We're here Saturday, Madison, Wisconsin for the CrossFit Games, and it is the Olympic weightlifting total day or event. So we're heading over to right there, Coliseum. This is it, dude. This is why we're here. You know, what I'm going to try to do is get some kind of live commentary while I'm watching stuff, and obviously probably break down at the end. I'm excited though. The structure of it is 2 snatches, 2 clean and jerks. So not 3 and 3, but typically in CrossFit, they've done it so you can build the bar. And let's say you only have 20 seconds to make a lift. You at least get to, you know that if you make that lift, you can just keep going, make. And they'll accredit you with whatever you made last. That is not the case in the sport of Olympic weightlifting, which is much harder. So now that they have to do that, it's gonna be very interesting. I don't think we're gonna see as heavy of numbers that we've seen in typical CrossFit style events. So my guess for the men, we're gonna see a lot of stuff in the 255 pounds range, which I think is right around 115 in the snatch. See that as like a first attempt. Hopefully after that, we'll see some makes from those guys at like 125 kilos, which is 275. We'll see the really strong guys, the guys who have snatched 300. I think they'll open at 125 kilos, which is 275. And then from there, what I would do is actually take a 10 kilo jump. Use the energy of the crowd, which is crazy in the snatch when you're not snatching, 180 kilos to take a big jump like that, but you only get 2 attempts. So in that sense, I'd say like the heaviest we're gonna see is 135 kilos, which is just shy of 300 pounds. We might see someone throw on 300 pounds. The cool thing is I think that some of these guys get the opportunity to like look at what someone else made and slap on a pound. In the clean and jerk, I would say the big number that a lot of guys are gonna open at is gonna be 150 kilos, so like 330 pounds, which is interesting because that was the biggest clean and jerk in 2015, I think, when it was in Carson. So we'll see a lot of 150, and then again, we'll see a 10 kilo jump, maybe even a 15 kilo jump to 160, which is 350 or 355. And I think the really strong guys, if they're able to, they'll open at 160 and then they'll go to 170, or they'll open at 165 and go to 175, which would be crazy. The women, I'm not entirely sure of. I don't really know the numbers that well on the women's side, but I don't even know the women's field right now if there are any big heavy hitters, any big lifters. What's crazy is we're on the second round of cuts, so some of the bigger lifter men aren't going to be there. So anyways, we're going to head over there, try to get a good spot, and hopefully you guys are going to like this video. After you, dude.
Thanks.
Zach, yes. I heard a guy's dropping out and I need a fill in lane 15.
I'm in. Let's go. I'll open at 275.
We're doing pounds.
275.
275 opener. Let's say you hit it smooth. What's next?
295 or 300.
Lift?
Or 300.
Okay, we need to run a 5K first though.
Okay, I'm out. No way.
Tell me about the clean and jerk.
345, 350.
The second one feeling good.
370.
So that's 370 and 300, call it 670. That's as much as Giannis Papadopoulos listed. He's 38 years old.
No way, is that what he got?
That's what he got. But they lifted fresh first thing of the weekend.
Yeah.
If you did that, I think you'd finish top 3 amongst these guys.
Yeah. I mean, they are, like, Roman was fried in that event.
Quick turnaround. That's going to play a factor here for sure. I think that you'll probably see like 20 to 30 pounds less than some people are thinking for some of these guys.
And also the fact they only get 2 attempts. They don't get to build the bar. Like, I think it's going to be underwhelming numbers, but given what they've done this weekend, like,
it's almost more impressive.
Oh yeah. I hope that we see something over 275. If I see any snatch over 275, I'm gonna be like, that's really impressive.
I think we'll get a few.
Yeah.
I think we'll get a few. Right off the bat, actually, Jack Farlow.
That's a good lifter.
Top total of the remaining men in the field.
Sweet. All right, Jack Farlow, so we're looking at. So names to look out for on the men's side, it's Jack Farlow and...
I mean, Bronislaw should do pretty well in theory, but I think that what's really going to pay off here is technique. So, because they're so tired. So I think that Adler has flawless lifting technique. So I expect that he'll put up like good numbers relative to his percentage of his PR, and it'll probably play pretty well against a tired field.
That's actually a good point. Technique is going to be even more important in a lift off like this when people are
tired.
Yeah, and the flip side of that is someone like Chandler Smith. Notoriously doesn't have the cleanest technique. He's already beat up from 3 tough days of competition. He's strong, but what's going to happen when he's this fatigued?
Yeah, pressure of 2 attempts, man.
Well, for that is when I started looking at rookies, and I started wondering guys like Bailey Martin, like Yellow Hosted that are doing great, that are in the top 10. Now the pressure's on, the lights are on, you're lifting on your own, you only get 2, you're tired. Are you going to make a good choice, and are you going to execute or not?
Women, who should we look for?
Well, first of all, she's the strongest lifter in the field, and second of all, she needs it. This is Laurel Horvath. I mean, she should absolutely win this event. She's down about 72 points to Lawson right now. If Lawson finishes outside the top 10, that gap's going to shrink to almost nothing, and we're going to have a really tight race tomorrow. I think that's likely to happen.
Okay.
95 pounds.
7, 2, 1.
First things first, the energy in the Coliseum during this surpasses any weightlifting competition I've ever been to, but I really would stand to say that there hasn't been a weightlifting competition with that sort of energy level. I think maybe if you look at 2014 Almaty, where Ilya hit that world record clean and jerk to win his session, I think that it's similar to that, but you guys got to understand, like, this is sustained energy throughout 2 straight hours of competition. There's nothing like this. I think that CrossFit is the most potent and powerful strength sport that there is. And the performances of all these people shocked me, and the format of this was pretty cool. So I didn't know what the format was coming into it. I didn't know what I thought. But what they did was it was 20 seconds to make your lift, and the end of your 20 seconds is the start of the next person. 20 seconds. So there was no break in between. So it was literally 20, 20, 20, 20, 20 until they would snake all the way through, and then they would snake all the way through for both lifts. The snatch, they would do 2 attempts. The crazy thing was they would go straight from the snatch to the clean and jerk. I have never seen that. So no warm up for the clean and jerk. Usually there's a snatch session, then you go back, you warm up, then there's the clean and jerk session. So maybe in the back room they warm up their snatch and their clean and jerk, but that seems like a lot of work to then go out and rest for an hour before you end up doing your clean and jerk session. Or it might have been a half hour or something like that. Anyways, format was cool for one huge reason. Non-stop action. Literally non-stop action. Heat 1, 4 lifts, bang, all the way through. Heat 2, 4 lifts each competitor all the way through, non-stop. And then they did that with the women as well. I think for a spectator, it literally doesn't get any better than this for weightlifting. I don't know how they could. You have 15 barbells out there, the amount of equipment, all of this stuff is being done by CrossFit and by no one else. So let's get into the top competitors from the men's side and the women's side. First, we're gonna look at Nick Matthew. Kind of came out of nowhere. Let's see here, he's got 265, so 120. And this is like right about where I said, I think, in the video, where I think A lot of people are going to be, I think a lot of people are actually going to be around the 115 mark, but there's going to be a decent chunk who are right around the 120. So he opens up here, pretty solid stuff, like nothing crazy to note, you know, good tempo off the floor. But this is what I was talking about right here, 27-pound jump, so over a 10-kilo jump. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. People are going to take 10 kilo or more jumps on the snatch, which is just unheard of in weightlifting, really, until you get to like a super heavy level. Similar lift, he, you know, just hits the bottom a little bit harder. Again, it's hard to like really dive into the technical aspect of it. Nothing that I take issue with technically, but yeah, just solid. Now we've got Nick Matthew, 335 pounds or 152. Again, another number that I absolutely called. I thought that 120, 150 is great. And then you take 10 kilo jumps. Here he's got 150 basically on the bar. Very solid jerk technique. I think specifically we can point at I think he's got the back foot landing first here. You can't tell because someone stands up. If you could see his front foot right now, you would see it's still in the air. He gets his back toe down first and then his front foot. That is one of the most important parts of the split jerk. His lockout is fantastic. That no doubt helps him with his clean and jerk. Oh yeah, here we go. Another 10 kilo jump, maybe slightly more. No, 10 kilos. So he knew exactly what he wanted to do. So the fact that this guy got third, doing exactly the numbers that I was saying, that's pretty crazy. But that's third place though. So I wasn't entirely sure what to expect from first and second. Solid clean. Let's see if we can see that back foot. Yeah. Yes. Okay, notice the back foot here. Oh, I love it. There's some incredible jerk technique right there. They're evolving, these CrossFitters. So Nick Matthew, third place. Pretty impressive stuff. Up next, we have Bronislaw Olenkowicz. And I'm kind of salty about this because I had the world record in the new Tier Volt shoes at 300-pound snatch, and he decided to beat it in this session. So he's got 295 here first, solid. And then we have, I mean, that was just as easy as it gets. I mean, I'm sure he's hitting over 290 pounds regularly, which is slightly over 130. When we get into the 300-pound range, we're looking at 136. So yeah. Okay, so this is interesting. I don't know if this would be called I forgot to talk about this before, but CrossFit, they don't have the same standards for the lift that Olympic weightlifting does. For instance, the press out rule is non-existent in CrossFit. And I think a lot of people automatically are like, oh, well, that's because CrossFit's just sloppy. It's like, just watch the lifting that I just did and tell me that lifting is sloppy. The technicality of CrossFitters has gone up tremendously since I got into this. And whether or not they're pressing, it doesn't really matter. I think people just overanalyze and they want to make weightlifting into this incredibly elite thing when we're just looking at elbows to see if they bend. But anyways, Bronislaw Olenkowicz in this, you could see his elbows is in a slightly weird position. His right shoulder is higher than his left. I don't know if that's because of an injury or whatever, but I noticed that's how he caught it. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that would be called or not, but you can see there's like a slight bend, and it could be from rotation of the shoulders. Judges in Olympic weightlifting are awful, and they call everything. So my guess would be is they would call that, and that'd be a no lift. I have such low expectations from the sport of Olympic weightlifting when it comes to judging. So now we go on to the clean and jerk, where Olenkowicz, he gets 165 on the bar here, which is 365 pounds, 165 kilos. Yeah, a little bit more rugged on his technique, I think, than Nick Matthew, to be fair. And I think it looks like these are bobbles in the elbows when he's catching. But I'm just pointing that out, guys, because, there's a decent bobble here. I'm just pointing that out, though, just because that's kind of the differences, and those are the fun things to look at. This isn't the best view for technical breakdowns, but this dude's a fighter. He's probably one of the strongest dudes in CrossFit. Up next, he put on 385. Tough clean, brutal clean. Okay, finally, the biggest superstar of the event and biggest shock to me, 21-year-old Jack Farlow put up massive numbers. The event started, and this was the first guy lifting. And his first lift was, his first lift of the whole event, the first lift was 295 pounds, right around 134 in kilos. That's crazy to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be so wrong. I thought that 120, 150 was gonna be like the starting point, see where we go from there. And then this kid just opens up at 295, which is crazy. Very solid. He's just strong as shit, and he's 21 years old. I just couldn't believe it. All right, now he has 305 pounds on the bar, which is slightly under 140 kilos. Guys, once we get past the 135 mark, we're looking at very few CrossFitters have ever snatched that much. So this is a big one. I think if we look at what makes this kid good, I mean, obviously I think it's because of his strength, but also the fact that he is a longer lifter. He gets really good leverage, and his ability, and I think the way that his hips are structured, his knees can track really far out. And when your knees can get out of the way and everything can clear out this way, you can sit super vertically. Some lifters, you might not have that ability in your hips, so the way that you find depth might be in a different way, like meaning your knees could come closer to your chest, but his bottom position is really his strong suit here. And he's doing this, guys, in flat shoes. These are CrossFit shoes that he's doing it in. All right, up next, we have his opening lift in the clean and jerk, which we can't see his numbers here. It's bullshit. Oh, 377 pounds. So yeah, 170, basically 171 was this kid's opener. Yeah, there's that bottom position. All right, so he does have his back foot land first, but if you notice his back heel, and this is interesting because this is the guy who won it, okay? But his back heel is actually closer to the floor. Like he has this almost external rotation of his back foot, which is not ideal. You actually want that thing to be pointed inward. And you can see even as he recovers, he puts that foot down. I mean, look, like I'm just pointing out like what in an ideal world, like you want your back heel to be outside of your back toe. So you create that, internal rotation. You don't want external rotation. You can see even the best CrossFitter right here has that. This dude is brutally strong. I would love to hear his numbers, just like in training. I want to see if I can get an interview with him. All right, so this is an amazing lift. 180 kilos basically, so 396, just a hair under 180 kilos. This is my best clean ever. So, and I missed the jerk. So let's hope he misses the jerk. And he nails it. Crazy. I wonder how that ranks. I wonder how that clean and jerk ranks. Is probably one of the heaviest in the sport of all time. I'm not sure what Guy has done in competition. Unbelievable setup, and his total, Harlow's total, is 2 kilos greater than my total. My best ever when I was training really hard in weightlifting. And like people consider me a decent weightlifter, you know, not like super nationally competitive or internationally competitive or elite at all. But people will see me and they're like, damn, that's really good lifting. Here's a guy who ran a 4 or 5K for time, did a crazy interval workout, and then less than 2 hours later did a total that was better than my best when I trained my absolute hardest for the sport that I'm a professional in. So that is fucking crazy, and yeah, that's all I can say about that. We're gonna move on to the women here. First we have Freyova. Freyova, I thought she had really good snatch technique from what I can remember. I think the weight that she hits, she ends up hitting 202 kilos total, and then I didn't get the breakdown of what she hit. But I'm pretty sure she was in the 200 pound. Yeah, so again, this was first lifter of the first heat, I'm pretty sure, or near that top. I was just like, oh no, she was in the second heat. Okay, so here are her top 2 lifts. Something that happens a lot with CrossFitters is I think they're just not, the actual technical aspect of snatching once you hit an intermediate level, the really technical, really tough part is basically everything from just before the hips to actually catching, and how you manipulate yourself into those positions. So what you're gonna see a lot of in CrossFit is you're gonna see a lot of contact and like kind of the elbows drop a little bit sooner. You're gonna see really good bottom positions, really good mobility, really like a lot of things that are just solid, but that pull under is just not the same amongst CrossFitters. And that's just because, and honestly, like there's a lot of weightlifters who don't have that, but it would be very difficult to balance training really, really hard in Olympic weightlifting and doing what they had to do today and the day before that and the day before that. Of course, this guy's standing right in front of us. Hell yeah. Here's her second. Oh, we didn't even get her clean and jerks. Damn. We could just move on. We do have Horvath. Technically speaking, Horvath is super solid, but I genuinely just think she's an incredible athlete. Like genuinely, like she would be a kick-ass soccer player, softball player. Just like she's got that aggression. I love watching her compete. She's just a fucking good competitor, and her genetics, her body like is built to kick ass in sports. It's wild. She looked super dominant out there in this event, particularly. Technically, she's solid. You know, there's like a little bit of space in between the bar and her hips that I don't quite like after it passes the knees, but she's so aggressive and has just like a fighter mentality. So she's catching these lifts. She's not gonna miss them. She's not gonna miss them in front of the crowd. This was so great. 120 kilo clean and jerk at the end of this day, dude. At the end of this day, at the end of this, basically nearing the end of this week, 120 kilos clean and jerk. I don't know what the record is amongst women, but I can't imagine it's much heavier than this in affiliated CrossFit competitions. I love the re-rack too. She's got like a serious re-rack when she clean and jerks. Solid as hell. Just incredible elbows, everything's solid. So that's it, guys. I think I might revisit this a little bit when I can get more technical stuff, like when we can get a 45-degree angle. This was the angle that Logan was able to shoot when we were in the stadium. As you guys can see from the reactions of the lifts that I did, or that I watched, it was insane in there. It was really loud. It was really excited. The people, this is the thing about CrossFit, is like these people just fucking love it. They love it and they live for it. And if you know, those people love Olympic weightlifting more than, you know, Olympic weightlifting fans. I don't know any Olympic weightlifting fans. You know what I mean? So we can go to a World Weightlifting Championships. Yes, there'll be spectators from outside, but they're not actually fans. These people are all snatching and clean and jerking in their gyms, and then they come here and they get stoked under the lights in this Coliseum that's filled and it's loud. There's just great production value. It's just everything in it is just, it's a breath of fresh air. So if, you know, weightlifting was to die out of the Olympics, I'm sure it's going to continue to go on in certain realms and certain way of competing, but the snatch and the clean and jerk will never die if CrossFit just continues to utilize it. So I'm completely impressed by what I saw, and like I was highly entertained. That was sick. It was so hype, dude. Holy shit. I can't say that enough. It was so hype. Anyways, that's it for the video. Appreciate you guys. More to come from the CrossFit Games, and see you later.